Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn. After Kansas State punted, after Iowa State punted, Iowa State would punt to Dylan Edwards and he would get hurt, and Dylan Edwards returned the result of a hit and he fumbled. And then Iowa State would get it back. They would fumble. 2 punts by Iowa State and then 1 by Iowa State. But on the 4th drive, Iowa State would score a touchdown. Donovan McOverbay had a 23-yard pass play. It was the big play of the drive. They would finish it out with the Carlson Hansen touchdown. Kansas State would respond right back with a touchdown on an 8-play, 65-yard drive. That game was tied at 7. A fumble by Kansas State, a missed field goal, and the first half was sloppy, with 2 turnovers on each side in the first half. The game was tied at 7. Back-to-back punts to start the second half, and a turnover on downs. Game still tied at 7. Touchdown Iowa State, 14-7. Touchdown to make it 14-14 with the Cats being tied in the 4th. But Iowa State would get a field goal and a turnover on downs. And Iowa State would put a 10-point lead up. But the Cats would respond with a 65-yard touchdown to Jared Bradley. Avery Johnson was the one that took points, but the Cyclones, Iowa State had a long, sustained drive to run out the clock, put them up by 10, but the final was 24-21. Avery Johnson throws for 2 touchdowns, has better numbers than the Iowa State quarterback, but Kansas State wins. The Kansas Jayhawks game, they should have won. The Jayhawks were favored by 13, but they won by more than that, 31-7. The Jayhawks took over in the second half, and also took over after they scored 31 answered when they won 41-7. I don't know, maybe this tells you that Jayhawks are 7-5 or 8-4. It doesn't really tell you much because that's just a tune-up game. I would be surprised though if they beat Missouri, but they still give a 35% chance, which could increase the record to 7 or 8 wins if they would beat Missouri. I give the Jayhawks about a 40% chance of winning that game. ESPN gives them a 43-point chance, so maybe that's a homer bet. I gave them a 35 to start, but then I decided to change my mind. Other than that, grueling stats for both teams. Kansas had a 207 yards rushing, jumping over 100. Royals felt like they haven't played bad. I haven't felt like they played bad ball this weekend. It just shows the Tigers are a better team. The bullpen would have liked to have been better this weekend, but I think that's just where the Royals are. The Tigers are a better team, and the Royals should figure out how to take 1 from the series. Royals score of that game. I know we're in the show me state, but the Royals have been much better over the last couple of years. You should embrace this strong change in the organization. The Royals was bottom dead for a lot of people, including me, and they have made the statement that they're not an organization that loses 100 games every year, and so we should be thankful that they are so much better. They look like they're a contending team when J.J. Picoult and Matt Quantrill are at the helm. So many people want Matt Quantrill and GM J.J. Picoult to be fired, but I don't really think that's fair to do. The Royals won yesterday 10-8. It was not a view of a Tigers comeback. The Royals led 6-1 in the 3rd, but by the 5th inning, it was 6-4, and then it was 7-6. Royals scored 3 in the 6th and both teams split up 1 in the 7, which made the final score 10-8. Both teams did not score in the 8th and 9th inning. Carlos Estevez gets another save. Today, the Royals sent down John Ray for Michael Massey. Michael Massey hasn't been hitting well. I believe John Ray has been a better ball player for the Royals, and don't fix what's broken. I mean, John Ray's not that good, but you couldn't be any worse than Michael Massey was this year. Tonight, the Royals will play the White Sox. The Royals will have Noah Cameron on the mound, and Shane Smith will go for the White Sox. Game time from Chicago is at 6:40. St. Louis Cardinals will play the Pirates tonight. The Cardinals are 3 under 500, 50%, 64 and 67. John Avridio will go for the Pirates, and Michael McGravy will go for the Cardinals. Again, game time 6:45 on MLB TV from Busch Stadium. Now we preview the SEC. Texas A&M heads into the 2-year Mike Elko is alongside bar inconsistent campaign. 8-5, the Aggies have a lot of talent and broad must pave. They can finish second in a tough, strong at the SEC level. Offense, Mac Crow Red is clearly a starter, has weapons around him. The offensive line of SEC is the best anchored. Tyler Zack and running back Leovan Moss gives them balance. Transfer at tight end. Defense echoes specialty, but the unit mass at creating turnovers, holding leads. Linebacker York leader. Watch schedule highlights early games against UTSA, Utah State, before Notre Dame. SEC matchups, home game. Auburn, South Carolina are winnable. Road matches, LSU, Missouri, and huge rival finale against Texas. Expectations most predict a 9-4 or 8-4, 9-3 team, which I'll go with 8-4. And critics will even expand to college football if play breaking right for Texas A&M. Texas A&M begins the season as ranked as number 19 in the AP poll and number 21 in the coaches poll. A&M football schedule looks like this. On August 30th, they will play UTSA. Game begins at 6 o'clock on ESPN. On September 6th, they will play Utah State, 11:45 a.m. versus Utah State. On Saturday, September 13th, at Notre Dame to host. Saturday, September 27th, versus Auburn, TBD. October 4th versus Mississippi State, TBD. Saturday, October 11th versus Florida, number 15. Saturday, October 18th at Arkansas, TBD. Saturday, October 25th at LSU. Saturday, November 8th at Missouri, TBD, and TBD for LSU too. Saturday, November 15th at South Carolina, TBD. Saturday, November 22nd versus Stanford, 11 a.m. Friday, November 28th versus Texas, 6:30 ABC, number 1 team. The Washington Commanders have reached a deal with Trey McClain, a 3-year extension that will end his holdout. His contract is 3 years extension, $96 million. The Saints release running back Cam Akers and waive. News as we cover them. Bears waived DB Millard Broxton, Xavier Collerton, DB Alex Cook, linebacker Alex Nichols, Caleb Hayes, Austin Reed, Eden Wheeler, Joel Willis. Bears release Trey Flowers, defensive back, a different Trey Flowers that played for the Chiefs, Royce Freeman, and Joshua Miles. Jason Anderson expected to return to the sidelines 4 to 5 weeks after hip injury. Sources in Miami will need a new kicker to start the season. Texans are not active running back Joe Mixon, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern deadline, making him ineligible to play at least the 4 first games of the regular season due to an ankle injury. Mixon moved reserve non-football injury, which automatically rules him out for at least 4 games. You can see the Bengals waive 11 players. Here's that on this link. Another hold ends with Trey Henderson reaching an agreement today with the Bengals, $14 million on his raise and boosting $30 million per sources. Trey Hendrickson is still scheduled to become a unrestricted free agent this offseason. Free agent Amari Cooper returns to the Raiders for a one-year deal. The Buccaneers plan to release Kyle Trask. Sources, he will reinnovate the IR with a shoulder issue, then work out a settlement release and look for the team to release it. Broncos also releases here. And that's it for the football news. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report.